Hey, Mortgage Coach community, Dave Savage here with Jeremy Forcier. Jeremy, what's up, buddy?
What's up, Savage? It looks like you're in a cooler place than I am, per usual.
I don't know, man. I'm in a pretty cool spot. I'm working out of a WeWork location
Nice.
here in Portland, and it is pretty cool.
Awesome.
I've been hearing from the Mortgage Coach Nation that interest rates are higher. Well, it's obvious.
Fact.
Yeah, fact. Inventory is crazy down. It,
Wrong. I'm just
well,
kidding.
I know,
Fact.
I know. It depends on which market. By the way, Danny from the Gaylord Hansen team is just doing some super slick stuff with the move up analysis and bringing that to agents to create listings and loans and listings. It's just great. But Jeremy, let's talk about what's going on with you. If you could talk about the leadership you're bringing to your organization, because you're not only a top producer, but you have loan officers that report to you. By the way, before we do that, if you could tell everybody how many loans you closed last year and your production levels, just give us an
Sure.
idea on last year.
You got it, Dave. So last year I closed 319 transactions, first and second loans, for 142 million and change, total
Boom,
dollar volume. So it was
boom,
good.
boom. And then how's this year going? Because, be transparent about the first couple months, and then I know you're getting ready to crush it.
So, what I love about the end of the year every year is that you start over. Like I had this awesome year and whatever, but no one cares anymore. The market doesn't care. My mortgage doesn't care. My wife's habits don't care. My habits don't care. Once you hit the first of the year, it's like, that's all in the past, right? So you have to evaluate, adjust, and just go downstream instead of trying to swim upstream all the time. So I had a really, really, really tough January. I mean, it was pitiful. I think I closed as many loans as I had team members on my team. Like, I think that my branch was like negative. Actually, I know it was negative $107,000. So for all of you that, are out there going, oh, it was really rough. It was really rough. It was not fun at all. And at the same time, I mean, I'm working harder than I've ever been. So that's like a context of the message as well, is that I'm also working harder than I ever have right now and smarter. So I'm doing both right now. January was super rough. February was, way better, but still not where I want to be. And March, I'm crushing. So and April's looking really, really good as well. So, that's where it's at. We're all grinding right now. It's very painful, but in the pain is always the opportunity. So I'm dealing with all the same stuff, right? People shopping me for rates. Oh my God, rates are so high. Well, yeah, they went up. People telling me that, oh, why are your rates 0.5% higher than the credit union or this bank or this, when the market sold off like 200 basis points in a 7-day time frame? I'm like, I don't know. I'm dealing with all the same stuff. I'm sure everyone is, Dave.
Yeah. Well, what advice do you have for the mortgage coach community? What leadership advice are you giving to your team and yourself? And then let's close it out with a couple scripts.
Cool. Well, first thing that I told my team and everyone that I lead in my organization is, don't get confused with short-term market compression with long-term normalcy of a market. So what I really mean by that is that we went through a time where the aggregators, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, everyone, they kind of freaked out. They didn't want to pay up, right, for the loans over the last month and a half because, if rates dip 0.25% even, and you're doing $300,000, $400,000 loans, everyone would refinance, right? So they had a lot on the line. So I think we had a huge market compression in margins in general of what Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Wells Fargo, all the people that buy all the loans that we do didn't want to pay as much because it was risky for them. That if something did change and did go down, because rates went up fast. I mean, let's not forget, I was quoting, under 4%, no points, like on November 6th, 2016, right? And I've been quoting like 4.5 to higher, since. So that's a big change in a really small period of time, and people are freaked out right now. So I'd say number one, don't make it about you. Remember that the people that we're serving, they're way more freaked out than we are. These are people that have been trying to buy a house for the last 18 months, getting completely priced out of the market, oh, and by the way, now your mortgage payment's going to be $300 more a month too. So, I mean, there's a lot of education and reselling that I've been having to do with all of my pre-approvals, right? And so Mortgage Coach has come in super handy, to be quite honest and frank, in that regard, because it gives me the advantage to get ahead of it. So rather than having to get on the phone and have someone go, why is this like this? Why is this like this? I can just redo the loan numbers, record a video, send it to them, call them and say, hey, I just sent you a video with updated numbers. It's super important that you watch it so you understand what's going on in the market. Let me know if you have any questions. So resetting expectations as to what the market is right now and really using, the technology and Mortgage Coach specifically that we have, at our fingertips.
Well, so everyone who's watched this, I mean, I've interviewed Jeremy, I don't even know how many times. We have so many awesome training videos with you, Jeremy, that I created a playlist called Jeremy Forcier Sales Training.
Tight.
So, yeah, and I think you have some of the most all-time watch calls, which I think it's interesting that you just said, because I've been hearing everybody's got kind of a bloated Prequal database.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get people into escrow and through escrow. So that's interesting. So you're updating a lot of videos. So you're not just creating the first video. Hopefully you're using the mobile phone here and there.
I'm using the mobile phone whenever available to me. Absolutely. It's super easy, you guys, if you haven't done it. I mean, you can just go into your app, click on something you made and literally re-record it. You can update it right there with the new rates. I mean, I do it in my car, not driving, by the way. But I do it in my car. I do it at the coffee shop. I do it while I'm waiting at the doctor's office for an appointment. Like it's so easy to do. So I'm sure everyone's using it already.
And by the way, so you are using the edit feature now. And by the way, not everybody. I still talk to people that are not. They're just not used to pulling out their mobile phone and doing business. They still think of it as the email text place. They wait for their desktop. They just got to pull this thing out and update a video, update a rate. Work your pre-quals. Okay, so let's go through and let's do a quick script on what do you say, pre-qual buyer, before you give them the TCA, the edge, the link for the total cost analysis. What are you saying so that when they get it, they click on it, and they understand the value of what you just put in their hands? How do you frame that?
Yeah. So one thing that's really important is to frame for everyone that, hey, what I'm showing you is an estimate. I'm not going to be like everyone else and show you something that is not real. I'm going to show you literally what it is today. And by the way, I'm going to estimate even higher than that. Because if rates continue to rise, I want to make sure that you're qualified for the home that you want as rates continue to rise in the future. So I'm already setting the expectation with everyone I'm talking to right now that these rates are a little higher. And I do usually qualify at 1/4 to 0.5% over market. And I'm glad that I did, because I'll tell you what, the run that we had, I would have a lot of people completely priced out of the market. So setting the expectation, which I know I say all the time, and people are probably rolling their eyes, but the reality is that you have to set and reset expectations all the time. I mean, that's like our number one job, I think, these days, is to set and reset. Don't be afraid of conflict, by the way. I have people that send me stuff like, I got quoted 3.625% on a jumbo with a $8,000 credit. I'm not afraid to go, there's no way that's going to happen. And here's why, and lay out exactly why I feel the way I feel. Whether I'm right or wrong, I believe it. And I really do. And I let them know that, hey, I don't want you to get put in a position where you're going to have to come back to me like hundreds of other people have in the past, where something wasn't delivered that says it was going to be delivered. So why don't we run parallel applications at the same time, see who gets to the ending line first and what the final numbers are. So those are two different scripts I know that I'm using a lot. But I'd say number one is to set the expectation that prices are going to continue to rise this year. And I do believe that. Rates are going to continue to rise. Will they? I don't know, but that's what everyone's saying. So that's what I'm going with, that rates will continue to slowly rise as well. I mean, that's a death trap for buyers. So you really have to remember that we're on their side. Like, it doesn't have to be an adversary conflict. It has to be like a family conflict. Like, families love each other, but we disagree. And then we come back and we love each other and we make sure everyone understands and we pick a path to go down together. That's what I'm doing with my clients right now. Making sure they understand, making sure I'm on their side, and making sure that they know I'm going to get it done no matter what, at exactly what I'm telling you I'm going to get it done at.
Love it. And how often are you still adding the video to the total cost analysis? What percent do you think are getting that?
Not, I mean, 90%. The only time, I think I've said this before, the only times that I don't add a video is when it's either super late at night and I just look like a train wreck and sound like crap, or I'm drunk. Like one or the other. If one of those two things is happening while I'm a little red faced because I've had 3 glasses of wine, I won't do the video because I've watched them before and I'm like, ah, man, I probably shouldn't have done that video, right? So those are the only 2 times.
All right, that's hilarious. And give us a feel for what it would sound like when you're updating it. It's been a month. It's been 6 weeks. You did it, and now you're resetting expectations. You're saying something in the video. What are you saying? Because by the way, I bet the whole mortgage coach community has hundreds. Every loan officer has. By the way, how many pre-quals are you managing right now?
Like 183, something like that.
So,
like big.
Yeah, and by the way, folks, Jeremy and I have done calls on what is your process to convert your 183s? How do you stay in touch with them? We're not going to do that right now, but I mean, you practically go listen to any of the interviews that we've done, and we probably have a script, in half of the interviews that we've done.
Dave, by the way, I'm redoing that whole process right now because it ties into what we're saying. I feel that I have to be even better and even more communicative right now than ever. I think people are. I'm having agents lose deals that I'm still doing the loan on because they're not in touch and because people have buyer fatigue and people have all this stuff and they just find someone and they get lucky, right? So, and it's happening to me too. I mean, I'm definitely losing some deals if someone refers you someone, even though I did a great job or whatever, where they're happy and they go find some other realtor and their realtor's super tied into their guy or gal. They're like, hey, you have to use my guy or gal, right? That's how you're going to get the house. So there's really a real risk right now that we need to be aware of as well to cross-sell our referral partners and have even more contact with our pre-approvals.
So how much contact should you have? And I want to net out one last video before we wrap this up. What does it sound like? What are you saying in that video when you're updating it?
Okay, cool. So video updates are simple. I always advise all of my clients as well as real estate agents that when they're making an offer, our trigger is the updated pre-approval letter, right? Hey, we need an updated pre-approval letter for this. That's my team's trigger. Boom. They assign me a task to update my MC is what it's called, right? So I get a task, update MC, here's the offer, all of that. So I literally go in and I update it based on the exact figures that they're offering on the property. And that's where I get to address anything that's changed. I'll use Mr. Wade as an example. It's just happened yesterday or Friday and then, drizzled in over the weekend. So he's been looking for 6 months. I have him fully underwritten and approved, by the way, subject to appraisal and title. Everything else is done. And he's getting buyer fatigue, right? And he keeps having to go up a little bit higher than he wants to budget-wise. And guess what else happened? Well, rates were 0.25% higher than when I last qualified him. So I had to update his video presentation via Edge. And all I told him was, hey, so here are the numbers if you were to get accepted today, right? And I acknowledge right off the bat, I want you to point out rates are 0.25% higher than they were 35 days ago when I did this originally. So let's get it right out of the way. Let's not just go talk through the numbers and not address the elephant in the room. Get right to it really fast. Hey, I want to point out rates are about 0.25% higher than they were 30 days ago, right? So right out of the gates. What that means is that it looks like your payments, and I show them side by side what the difference in payments are compared to what they were.
You're not afraid.
Versus what they are. Hey, I know this is what they were. Here's what they are right now. If you still want that other thing, it just costs more money. I'm more than happy to discuss it with you. If you want to talk about what that looks like, just let me know. So that's usually how my update videos are sounding if things have gone up.
Yeah, well, I've heard top producers doing that, and I hear some of them even putting in a third option was, this is what's going to look like if they go up even more. If they go up another quarter, so it's kind of like cost of waiting. It's like, hey, because it's taken 6 months, this is what it's cost, and if it takes another 3 to 6, this is what it's cost. And now they're just like, I want option B.
Right.
I love A. I certainly don't want C. Let's get going.
Right.
All right, guys. So hopefully the takeaway for everybody on this call is every family needs to get the total cost analysis. You need to update it with all of your clients. And then, Jeremy, I still have people tell me that, oh, the total cost analysis takes up too much time or it doesn't save me time.
If you're listening to this right now and you think that, just refer me all your clients and we'll see how fast I can get one out. Okay. Like I don't even know what else to say anymore about it. It's just like, is there a learning curve? Sure. Okay. But if you do something every day, like it's so easy and it's so fast, and I promise you it will save you time. Like if I'm going to close 30 transactions this month. Okay. So if I can do it every single time, oh, and I manage a 1 billion for region as well. Right? I mean, if I can do it, come on, guys. Like anyone can do it. Like I am tight on time to the second in my calendar. I'm looking at it right now. I had no open time today. I didn't have one open second. Dave was calling me at 4:31. I'm like, I know, man. I'm hopping on right now. Like you can do it. Just book out the appropriate time to do it. Right? So I book out an hour a day to go through my tasks and return phone calls and create MCs every day, no matter what. It's in my calendar. So that way, if I didn't get to it, right, when I had an open time, I have dedicated time to make sure I do that stuff before I go home. And don't tell me, by the way, I don't want anyone emailing me and saying, well, there's no way that you can do that many in an hour. Well, how many are you doing? I mean, I'm doing on average 5 a day. It takes me about, let's just call it conservatively 7 minutes to create it, record it, and send it. I mean, 7 times 5 is 35 minutes. I mean, it doesn't take as long as we think. It's way easier. And don't forget, this is the most important part. You can lead and counter all the objections you already know you're going to get in your video. So use that as an influence tool. Use that as this is what the next step is. Tell them what's going to happen. Tell them to email you any questions you have specifically so you can make an appointment to review it. But make sure you're leveraging the video to send your message to everyone rather than just checklist information. Okay? Make sure you're using it to lead them to what the next step is.
Love it, Jeremy. So by the way, I'm interviewing Chris Smith, the author of The Conversion Code, tomorrow. And you and I have always had the playbook that, repeat back their name, repeat their goals. I mean, the video is a sales tool. Yes. I mean, it's a tool to go, I heard you. And here are the feature and benefits and how I'm going to help you accomplish your goals. So, folks, it saves you time. So, hey, Jeremy, I know you got to get ready for another meeting. Super appreciate this. By the way, Mortgage Coach community, make sure you check out the Jeremy Forcier playlist. I'm going to put a link to one of Jeremy's total cost analysis below in the description of this video. You're checking it out on YouTube. Jeremy, thanks a lot, brother.
All right, man. Have a great day. Go kill it, guys. The market is waiting for you. Don't forget that.
Right on.